Hi ladies and gents, my name is Thom Gibson and I'm here to help you create a meaningful and memorable experience for the students in your middle school STEM classes. Today I'm sharing a project that I did with my students on financial literacy where they had to sell items on eBay. A little bit of context, I have something called a classroom economy in my classroom. It's this year-long system where students apply for jobs at the beginning of the year and they get paid in classroom money. It's all digital through a virtual bank, and then they can use that classroom money to purchase items at an auction or pay fines for any misbehavior or start their own businesses and sell things and earn money that way. It's a really cool and fun system, and throughout the year, it allows me a ton of different opportunities to talk about financial literacy and money management with the students while they're learning in this experiential way. But given that remote teaching took us out of the classroom, I was trying to think, what can I do that's financial literacy related? Because usually we just end the year with this great big auction and it's super fun. And I wanted to have something financial literacy related that would be kind of a fun project. And so a fellow teacher friend of mine posted onto LinkedIn on how he was actually teaching his students to sell on eBay. And I thought, that's it. That is my financial literacy project that I'm going to do with the students. And so Mike Yates shared a few of the different resources that he put together for what he did with his students that I'll go ahead and link down in the description. The way I took that and modified it for my students is I created a 7-step process for the students to go through to try to sell something online and make real money. Each step of the process, I created a short video for them to watch that would walk them through that step, and then each step they would have something that they would have to do, some action to take. And so the first step was deciding what to sell. In the video, I talk about the Marie Kondo method. I talk about finding things in your house that you don't use, and then they have to figure out what is it that I want to try to sell on eBay. The second step was to figure out how much to sell it for. In the video that I provided for the students, I talk about how you can go onto eBay and you don't see what people are asking for. If they say, I'm going to try to sell this old iPhone for $2,000, just because they're asking for $2,000 doesn't mean it's worth $2,000. On eBay, there's a little feature where you can click on, I only want to see what this item has actually sold for, and then it filters it out so you're only seeing sold prices, and that helps inform you on how much you're going to actually be able to charge for your item. Step 3, I walk the students through how to take photos of their items as well as how to write a meaningful description that sounds professional and conveys all of the information that you need to convey to potential buyers. Step 4, I walked the students through how to post on eBay as well as Facebook and some of these other marketplaces. eBay is a little bit more involved and they ask for a little bit more information about what you are selling, and so I actually went step by step on how to do that. I used an old Game Boy Color, which I recently was able to sell, going through the process on posting it up onto eBay and describing it and putting the photos on and everything like that. And then with Facebook and OfferUp and a bunch of other ones, it's fairly simple. You just put the pictures up and you write the description. I didn't talk about Craigslist. Some students went ahead and put their stuff on Craigslist. I didn't feel Craigslist was like the safest place for students to be online. And so with all of this, I told the students, you use your parents' eBay account. Don't do any of this without their permission. And I also sent an email out to the parents saying, hey, we've got this project going on. I just want to let you know, like, I don't even think middle schoolers are old enough to even legally own their own eBay account. So they would have to do all of this stuff through their parents for safety reasons. Step 5, I walked through how to actually estimate how much it's going to cost to ship something to someone, particularly since a lot of us are still in quarantine. We may not want to be going to the post office or going to meet someone to give them the item, but instead, how do you actually figure out how much it's going to cost to ship this item or mail this item to somebody? So I know to incorporate that into my description along the lines of buyer must be willing to pay shipping costs, which will be approximately $10. Step 6 was a video where I walked the students through communicating with buyers and what to do if they feel they're getting scammed. I also linked to a separate video, YouTube video, on what to look out for when people are trying to scam you on eBay. And that video is also like how to sound professional and letting them know they are the ones to set the terms of the transaction. They can decide what to sell it for and how they want to sell it, and they don't have to be bullied into anything that they don't want to do from a customer. And step 7 was getting the items to the buyers. In that step, I walked through the process of how do you get the post office to come pick up a package from your front door so you don't have to actually go to the post office, or again, so you don't have to go give it to somebody else, and it can just all be contactless delivery. So in my class, since it was at the end of the year and we had a couple of other things going on, I ended up making this an extra credit project, and 5 students ended up taking advantage of it. One student did sell his old computer for $300 on eBay. And he also told me that the original person that started talking to him about it on eBay, he's pretty sure they were trying to scam him because it was just super weird, and they were saying, oh, I'll only pay through PayPal on this off channel. And he's like, yeah, I just stopped talking to that person. But then he did end up selling it to a more reputable customer and making $300 real dollars. Some really cool learning moments that students shared with me was one student had this little train, toy train, that's not very popular here in the US. And so he actually went to the UK version of eBay, and he's like, I tried to see how much it was already sold for, but there hadn't been any that were sold, but I did see a few of them on auction, and I was able to see what people were actually bidding on that item based on the condition that it was in, and that's what helped me inform how much I wanted to price it. And I'm like, that's perfect. Those are the things that you only learn from actually trying to do it. As far as how I assessed students, all they had to do was turn in a Google Doc, and on that Google Doc, they had to write out what they were selling and why, and that was worth 15 of the 100 points. They had to take screenshots of the research process and show, oh, I clicked on sold, and these were what all of them were selling for, and that's why I priced it the way that I did. That was worth 40 points. They had to give screenshots or put links to their eBay listings or Facebook or wherever they ended up posting the item. That was worth 40 points. And that was for me to be able to see what pictures did they take and what was their description, and did they follow the directions that I had mentioned in the video. And that brought them to 95 points. If they actually were able to sell the item, they got those final 5 points. I put that on there because they aren't really in control of whether it gets bought or not, and so it's not a huge impact on their grade if it doesn't get bought, but I did want to have that little bit of incentive of them trying to kind of put that extra effort to try to get this sold to get those final 5 points. In the future, I think I will make this a mandatory project. I don't know if it'll be more of like a quiz grade or a test grade, or if I'll have smaller projects leading up to it, or maybe each of those steps is its own grade. I haven't really decided that. Right now it was just kind of like one big project and one grade. And some of them just told me like, oh, I didn't really watch the videos. I just like made an eBay account with my parents and then just started posting stuff, which is fine because it's learning by doing. But I was also able to see, if they didn't watch it, if there were certain details in that Google Doc that they turned in that were missing. It's like, oh, you were supposed to mention these things on why you were selling it and you didn't mention that. But if you want the slideshow that I use to introduce it to students, as well as each one of those videos that I created for the students to take them through those steps, as well as that grading criteria, I've put that down in the description below, as well as the original article that Mike Yates wrote on how he did it in his class. I would love to know if you end up doing it and how it goes in your class. I talked about this project in a recent episode of my podcast called Stories from the Classroom, where I talked about 3 of the projects that I did at the end of the year. And so I'll go ahead and link to that down in the description as well. That being said, my name is Thom Gibson. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to stay in the loop with any upcoming videos that will help you create meaningful and memorable experiences for the students in your middle school STEM classes, then go ahead and subscribe. YouTube also thinks that you might like this video right here, so you can check that out if it sparks your interest. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something that'll help you create meaningful and memorable experiences for your middle school STEM students, and hopefully I will catch you in the next video.